everyone, if you or someone you know is thinking about applying for a marriage based green card or has already started the process, you need to hear this. Starting in 2026, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, is rolling out updates to how marriage green cards are evaluated. That means what used to work smoothly might now require extra care, more documentation, closer scrutiny, and sometimes unexpected delays. I know how much this process matters for dreams of building a life, for reuniting with loved ones, for planning a future together, and any change can feel scary. But what if instead of freaking out, we could get ahead of it? What if by understanding the new rules now, you could make sure your application stays strong, avoid common pitfalls, and keep your hopes alive without surprises? Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what's changing, what's staying the same, and most importantly, what you can do to prepare. So, sit back, get a cup of tea, and let's dive in together. Let's begin by reminding ourselves what the marriage-based green card process looked like before these updates, so we can better appreciate what's about to shift and why it matters. If you're trying to get a green card because you married a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident, LPR, the usual path involves the sponsor filing something called Form X-130, the Petition for Alien Relative. That document basically asks the government to recognize your marriage and start the process of granting you permanent residence once I approved. If you're already in the U.S. need you, the spouse can then file Form 485 application to register permanent residence or adjust status. That's often referred to as adjustment of status. If you're outside the U.S., the route is slightly different. You might go through consular processing at a U.S. embassy or consulate abroad instead of I-485 adjustment. With a genuine, well-documented marriage and all forms filled correctly, couples typically could expect somewhere between 9 to 18 months for approval depending on backlog and workload. Many families counted on that timeline to plan their lives, but now and with the upcoming 2026 updates, things are shifting. The changes haven't all gone into effect yet, but the signals are clear. The process is becoming more stringent. One of the biggest themes, increased scrutiny. According to recent guidance, the agency will place greater emphasis on verifying that marriages are genuine. That means that your evidence of the proof of shared life, shared history, real relationship will be examined more carefully. It's not just about forms anymore. It's about telling your story in a way that leaves no room for doubt. What does that mean in practice? First, expect more detailed background checks and possibly deeper investigations into your history. It may not be enough to submit a marriage certificate. USCIS might ask for joint bank statements, shared lease or mortgage documents, photos together, proof of joint insurance, maybe even affidavit from friends or family attesting to your relationship. Consistency in names, dates, addresses will matter more than ever. Second, changes to forms and paperwork rules. The agency has already tightened rules around accepted form editions. Using an older version or mixing up pages, like combining different editions, could get your application rejected, not just delayed. For example, in 2025, USCIS mandated that only the latest editions of forms like I-485, I-130, and related ones be accepted. Third, costs and payment procedures have become more rigid. The filing fees may have changed depending on how you file online versus paper, and there are stricter rules around how payments are submitted. It's no longer always acceptable to combine fees. Many forms now require separate payments. Fourth, earlier and stricter requirement to declare your processing path. That is whether you're using adjustment of status inside U.S. or consular processing outside U.S. Previously, some cases had flexibility or ambiguity. Now that's mostly gone. Clearly stating which path you intend to use has become mandatory. And importantly, the timeline for approval is expected to stretch longer. According to recent legal forecasts for 2026, marriage-based green card processing, depending on where you're filing and case type, could range from 12 up to 33 months. That's significantly longer than before. But don't panic. These changes don't necessarily mean denial is inevitable. What they do mean is that for couples who take time, prepare carefully, and treat their application as more than a form submission, there is still very good reason for hope. And that preparation can make all the difference. So, let's talk about what you can do today to maximize your chances under the new 2026 era rules. First, gather as much evidence of a real shared life together as you can. Think of your relationship like a story: where it started, how it grew, what your lives look like now. Include old photos, travel history, joint bills, lease or home ownership, joint insurance or medical records, joint bank accounts, records of shared purchases or utilities, correspondence, emails or chats, affidavit from friends or family, anything that shows you spend real time together and lead a real life together. The more everyday life proof you have, the more credible your case will look. Second, when you prepare your forms, especially I-130, I-485, or consular equivalents, always make sure you download the latest edition directly from the official government website. Double-check the edition date at the bottom of each form. Under the new rules, mixing older pages or using outdated forms can mean a rejection without warning. No second chances. It's crucial. Third, treat payments carefully. Pay for each form separately if required, and confirm the correct filing fees depending on whether you submit online or by paper. It may be tempting to bundle everything together for convenience, but these days that could backfire. Fourth, submit as complete an initial application packet as possible. If medical exams, proofs, affidavit, and supporting documents are required, try to include them in one shot. Don't assume you'll have time to submit supplementary paperwork later. The scrutiny on paperwork completeness is higher than it has been in years. Fifth, be prepared for longer waiting times and possibly interviews. The agency's increased backlog, stricter vetting, and broader review standards mean that interviews might happen more often, and wait times after approval might stretch several months longer than previously. So, mentally and practically, set expectations accordingly. Now, I want to speak directly to couples who might be watching this, especially those of you who may feel anxiety, frustration, or even fear because of these updates. I get it. Immigration already comes with so many uncertainties. You're not just filling out forms. You're chasing a dream of a new home, stability, family. Maybe you left behind relatives. Maybe you want to give your kids a better life. Maybe you just want peace. These changes can feel like a blow to that dream. But here's the truth. If your relationship is real, if your love and life together are genuine, these updates don't have to be roadblocks. They can be a test of sincerity, a test that you can pass. Yes, mistakes will be punished more strictly, but honesty, preparation, and patience can shine through. Think of it this way. In a system increasingly concerned about fraud and misuse, every bit of real, valid documentation makes your case stronger. Every shared bill, every family photo, it is your proof that this isn't just paperwork. It's your life. If you file carefully and with respect for the new rules, you're not just applying for a card, you're presenting your story. And a story built on truth and love will always be more powerful than one built on shortcuts. Okay, I want to address a question I know many of you are asking. Do I still qualify if I already submitted before 2026? Or what about pending cases? As of now, policy watchers say that while the stricter guidelines are slated for 2026, USCIS may begin applying tighter scrutiny even to pending and newly filed applications, especially around proving relationship authenticity, financial eligibility, and documentation completeness. That means even if your case is already in the queue, it may be reviewed under tougher standards. And that means staying ready. Be prepared to supply extra proof if asked, and watch your mail or attorney messages closely. If your case hasn't yet been filed, treat 2026 as a wake-up call. Don't rush, don't take risks. Use this time to get all your documents in order, gather supporting evidence, double check everything, and then file carefully and completely. Before I wrap up, I want to talk to you about patience and hope. I know it's frustrating. Longer waits, more paperwork, more fear that something could go wrong, but sometimes the things that matter most demand more effort. And this effort, showing that your marriage is real, that your commitment to each other is real, it's worth it. Because the alternative, not reuniting or living in uncertainty, is what many people fear most. If you love someone and you want to build a life together, then prepare. Be careful, be honest, be ready, and above all, stay hopeful. Because the dream of being together under one roof, building a future, deserves every extra step. And if you're watching this and feeling overwhelmed, take a deep breath. You're not alone. There are many couples going through the same process. Many of them are feeling the same worry, the same hope, the same desire for stability and love, and many will succeed. Because in the end, when the truth of your relationship shows, when you show who you really are, the system might be tough, but your hope can be stronger. So here's what you can do right now. If you're married and planning to apply, you start building your evidence file. If you already applied, review your paperwork and make sure everything is up to date and complete. And if you know someone going through this, share this video with them. It could make a big difference. If you found this information helpful, I'd love it if you hit the like button. Maybe subscribe if you want to stay updated on immigration news and drop a comment below. Tell me your story, your concerns, your hopes. I read every comment, and I want to help you feel less alone in this process because at the end of the day, this isn't just about paperwork. It's about people, love, families, dreams, and you deserve clarity, support, and hope. Thank you for watching. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and I'll see you in the next